And we're live! All right, awesome. I think we might actually be ahead of the tweet here, which is a fantastic time. As you can see, we're firing on all cylinders today as we say hello to everyone. Welcome to the Final Rites, D&D 5e, Southern Gothic, all tiefling, all badass campaign that I've been running for a little while now here on the Nerdsmith Network. Finally moving to a weekly schedule. Marvelous. Eminently proud of the work that we're doing, both here and behind the scenes. We'll get to that in a minute. But before we proceed too far, I should say, hello, my name is Jason. I am the DM extraordinaire of the Final Rites and also a creator on the Nerdsmith Network. You can find me at JustJasonPlease on Twitter and a whole bunch of other places. I actually have a pinned tweet now, formatted by the lovely Angela McCain, right here on stream. Yes, say hi, say all that.
Oh,
and as I said, DM of the Final Rites, so happy to be here. I'll go ahead and throw it to our guest this evening. Yes, returning from their appearance last week, we welcome to the show one more time, Mustang. How you doing? So good to see you. Who are you? Where can we find you? And what's going on? All that good stuff. Yeah. Who are you playing?
I'm Mustang or Sarah, don't mind which. You can find me on Twitter at Mustang's Art, where I tend to rant about better disability, accessibility, and representation in Dungeons and Dragons and TTRPGs as a whole. So you can find me on there talking about that, and also in some other shows that I either am part of or run, which I'll talk about at the end. And I am playing Shez, my awful warlock son, who certainly isn't here to steal any souls because that would be bad.
Certainly. It's not like you're a warlock in service to the Raven Queen whose actual sole task is to ensure that there are adherents that may be willing to give up their souls in service to her. Definitely not anywhere near this character concept that you've created. But you have encountered a little bit of resistance, an interesting bit of complication aboard the Final Rites. A neutral ground, supposedly, but we'll get into it. For now, we have to introduce our regulars. Rachel, returning from absence last week. Oh, so good to see you. How are you doing? Where can we find you? Who you playing, etc., etc.?
Indeed, I am back. Thank you guys for bearing with me whilst I was away last week. But yes, I play Mercy, the tiefling. Whoa, shocker. Monk. Way of the Drunken Master of Drunken Fist. I can't remember. It's one of those two. Anyway, you can find me on Twitter at Talonir, where I do, I guess, a bunch of art stuff mostly. It's my main gig, and then also stream wonderful tabletop RPGs like this one. And yeah, that's pretty much me.
All right. Fantastic. Again, so glad to have you back from absence. So glad to be here. All the art that you see on screen is actually Rachel's. So, hey, check her out. It's a good time. Outside of that, we must welcome our returning regular cast member and fellow creator on the Nerdsmith Network, Angela. Hey, how you doing? Who you playing? What's up?
I'm Angela. You can find me at darling_gypsum on Twitter. And I am playing Jovi, who is a mixologist, a both mundane and magical alcoholic beverage brewer. So yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good, short, sweet, to the point, As I said at the top, she was the one who actually formatted my pinned tweet, so 1,001 thanks to her and the entire Nerdsmith Network. As I suppose we should mention, what you're watching, what you're ingesting with your eyeballs right now is a Nerdsmith production. If you go to nerdsmith.org/support, you can actually find out how you can directly assist us in this content creation circle that we've got. You can follow us on Twitter at WeAreNerdsmith. You can also follow us on Twitch. Subscribe to us on YouTube. And if you have the means, Also, subscribe to us on Twitch, or, since it's September and everything, things are getting a little bit cheaper, especially in terms of gifting, or I can't remember if it's gifting subs or purchasing subs. At any rate, it's a little bit cheaper, and we can, utilize that financial support for the plethora of shows that we have on the network. Oh, I hear a noise, a very interesting noise.
It was me.
It was you. It was you the whole time. But as I said, any follow, subscriptions, anything is always appreciated. Again, if you want to find out how you can help us directly, nerdsmith.org/support. As in addition to the network itself, we have a couple of lovely sponsors. First that I'm going to mention being Die Hard Dice. Yes, purveyor of all fine polyhedrals. A lovely company, lovely folks running not only their social media department, but also apparently their design department, because, the designs that they come up with, be it in plastic, metal, etc., blow me away consistently, and at such a wonderful price. Like, honestly, if you go to dieharddice.com, you'll find something that you're going to want, especially if you're in the tabletop realm, because, you can never do with enough dice. There's no such thing. There is no upper limit. As it stands, there is another sponsor that I should probably pay mention to, considering I'm about to be running a show for them. World Anvil, yes, worldanvil.com, the premier and award-winning world-building service that, run by a fine bunch of folks. Janet and Demetrius are some of the best in the game, like, just from all standpoints to be considered. Just lovely folks. Go ahead and take a look at their product. It's free to try, but for the cost of about maybe like a used Atari joystick from like the plug and play days, where you can like
I feel like you're vastly underestimating how much someone might be willing to pay for that.
That's very true. I'm talking like pawn shop level. Like, you go to a pawn shop and they value it at that. Like, that's exactly. Anyway,
but the value you get from that is way better if you put that money towards World Anvil.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Brought it back.
You can actually go to worldanvil.com at any point in time. Try out their service for free. You're going to want to see their features. You're going to want to learn more about how you can format to your world specifications, whether you're a DM, whether you're a novelist or comics writer. If you're just looking to build a world that is your own and keep track of all of the various characters and whatnot in it, worldanvil.com. Go try it for free. You're going to want to put some money towards it to access just the wonderful amount of features. Final Rites actually has a World Anvil page that we're still in the process of working on.
It's very pretty, though.
Oh, yes, it's very marvelously formatted. Thanks mostly to, again, the efforts of Angela. I did mention, however, in that, I am going to be running for the fine folks at worldanvil.com a little bit of a show named Shattered Forge. Can't share too many details right now outside of the premiere date, which is going to be September 20th, Friday of next week. Not this coming Friday, but the one after that, at 3 p.m. EST or 12 p.m. PST.
Look at you.
Yes, because nobody uses CST like a sensible bunch of...
Except for the people who live in CST, and I'm sorry. You're out
grumble,
here.
Yeah, unfortunately. So, if you have half a mind to maybe check out something that I'm going to be GMing for just a laundry list of wonderful folks, check us out. That'll be premiering on this channel. Yes, this channel that you have your eyes glued to right now. If you're watching us on YouTube, hello. Catch us live every Tuesday at 1 p.m. CST. I can't think of anything else, but I know for a fact that, Angela, you have something that you might want to put out on behalf of the directors of Nerdsmith. Something about 9 hells that we've got to go through.
Yeah, it's so apropos that we're doing this during Final Rites. So I will put the link in chat, but we have just sort of soft announced the fact that we will be running a kick-ass epic event during October. I had to remember the date. It is going to be called 9 Hells of a Good Time. It is a very large-scale D&D one-shot event we will be doing. We have 12 DMs, and we need 48 players to help us play in these little one-shots we will be running that are all taking place in the campaign setting for the new D&D release, Baldur's Gate: Descent into Avernus. We won't be specifically touching on the plot of that book, so you don't have to worry about spoilers, but we will be taking the NPCs and locations and having a good time with them. So we will be running 12 different one-shots over the month. It's Logan, I need help. It's Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturday afternoons. I got it. Okay, so you can check those out, but I will put a link in chat for player signups. If you want to sign up, we've got our form that has all the little details that you'll need to know, that we will need to know to get you set up with a cool DM and having a little bit of fun in hell. In the hells, rather.
Woohoo! Awesome.
But we'll be doing that all month, signups for being a player in one of our one-shots.
Yep. If you want, if you are interested, want a spot, or want a shot at a spot, then go ahead and just follow the link. That's probably almost assuredly either in chat or somewhere in the Nerdsmith Twitter verse. It'll be circling around, making the rounds. Quick note, I should say. You may notice we are down one player. Yes, we have lost nowhere this evening, simply because of excuse me. Few problems with scheduling that have cropped up because yay life. We send our love to Heavenly and hope that she's excuse me, doing well. And other than that, everything taken care of.
As the complete counter opposite to Mercy, we're just going to say that Nowhere had some paperwork to do.
Yeah, literally. Like that's kind of her job. But, that'll be handled with time as we all welcome you aboard Final Rites. And we're back. Shout outs to Logan on production. Honestly, I was talking behind the scenes, but honestly, the work that Logan and all of the producers within the TTRPG space, it's just amazingly well. And cannot thank them enough. But as we zero in on today's proceedings, oh boy. The party, having found themselves back aboard the ship after a slight, shall we say, sojourn in the elemental plane of fire, found themselves welcoming new arrivals, some unfamiliar, but a few more familiar, especially to one amidst the present company. We'll get to that in a moment. Outside of that sphere of influence, however, there existed one high roller aboard the final rites, a representative of a queen who should be eminently familiar to those within the Forgotten Realms and the multiverse more generally. Yes, indeed, the Raven Queen had an adherent, Shez, who caught wind of a particular Triton who was having a bit of a problem. Seafoam, a name familiar to Jovi and Mercy, though not to nowhere, at least not to my knowledge, save for, well, certain proceedings. Shez was fortunate enough to secure something of a promissory note from Seafoam, a preliminary agreement to the idea of selling her soul. The specifics of which still need to be determined, and the specifics of which were rudely interrupted by grizzled hunter-esque figures who stalked Shez through the length of the final rites, encased in furs and the like. They turned out to be illusory, unfortunately, and Shez was left adrift slightly above the gambling hall and to his own devices. Similarly left to his own devices, as we circle back, Mercy. Winding the clocks back just that little bit, Kai and Kata were a little dicey in perhaps registering their weaponry with Bailey, Gallo Dodger, the half-orc, keeper of the armament, mainly because, well, as you came to realize, Kai claimed that they were a guardian figure of some description to a individual aboard the Rites, and so they must keep their weaponry at all times, etc., etc. They sort of the whole sort of conversation really went over your head, mainly because Kada, well, make an insight check.
Oh, Kada should be good at this. Dirty 20.
All right. Mainly because Kada seemed eager to talk to you. He was virtually jumping up and down, like trying to restrain the energy that he had. He had originally intoned that maybe he needed to find a patron for whatever reason that he said he would talk to you about, but has yet to talk to you about. Pardon. You actually viewed him speak with consternation, who you assume to be somehow affiliated with the Rites. You're still not familiar with the power structures at play here. They evade your specific kind of purview. However, after Bailey and Kai sort of negotiate a means by which their weapon might be deposited, Bailey turns to you and kind of smiles very warmly and says, "Now, I hope you don't mind if I were to borrow your friend and get down to the forge, as it were. Just a little bit of assurance for the young Genasi that weaponry will be taken care of fully and be secured and the like."
Sure. I mean, can I come with you guys? Oh wait, am I technically still on shift? I don't really know what I've forgotten. What do we actually do after we pick people up? Like, what do people on door duty do after that? Because I may have, I never really went to the orientation. But I don't know if there actually is one. That's something else I need to add to my suggestions box. Actually, orientation could really help some people out.
Bailey just, in a motherly sort of fashion, politely lays a soft hand on your shoulder, understanding the situation, given that you were basically yeeted on board the final rites some weeks ago. And she says, in normal fashion, it's your Halakersa that you report to, and then subsequently await further instruction either from the lieutenants on shift or Bahazet. Given your, she pauses for a moment, trying to word the phrase very carefully, rather unique residency aboard the Rites. I would assume that it might be in your best interest to speak to Bahazet directly. As soon as you can.
By unique residency, do you mean I'm the only one that sleeps in a broom closet?
Oh, honey, you sleep in a broom closet? There's kind of a strange, like, wait a minute, what? Before Kada actually comes behind and like, grabs your shoulders. Not roughly, but, like, in a, hey, we need to talk privately sort of manner. He looks up to Bailey and says, by the way, promise, I'll get those daggers to you as soon as possible or anything. Bailey stares him down very, very severely. Or I can do it now. Yeah, that's totally fine. Kata immediately starts sort of like reaching for the various bits of weaponry. And you note some of these weapons are familiar, some of them not so familiar. He actually pulls out what seems to be a collapsible javelin from his sleeve, twirls it and plants it on the table.
I kind of lean in towards him and go, since when are you such an armory?
I'm nervous, okay? Just happen to maybe overspend on a couple of things. I've learned things that are really making me paranoid, and I don't know how else to describe it.
But usually you just throw fire at things that make you paranoid.
Yeah, I know I do.
You're really, really bad with weapons.
He immediately, like, the sort of fiery orange of his hair goes to a soft blue as he looks to you and, like, says, yeah, but
you're here now. It's gonna be fine. Just, stick them in the umbrella bucket, or it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be fine.
Sure. All right. He immediately sort of pushes the weaponry over to Bailey, who, again, very silently scoops it into a bag of holding that is situated on her side. Kai looks to the both of you and says something actually in Primordial. Do you happen to speak that?
Yes, I speak Primordial.
I thank you for your company for now, Kada. If needs be, I can find you again. I'm afraid my attentions are called elsewhere. They kind of, like, stand awkwardly for a good solid minute. Kada saying nothing and looking to you.
Your friends, say goodbye.
A pleasure, Kai. And he holds out his hand. Kai looks at it, not understanding for a second, and then grasps the hand, shakes it, and departs with Bailey. Kada and yourself are currently sort of mingling through the crowd that is still mincing their way into the final rites. Go ahead and make a perception check.
Okie dokie. That's 11.
Okay. Looking around, you do note your Halakersa, the Dragonborn Lieutenant of Team 2, which is now sort of in the transitionary period between sort of, or which will soon be in the transitionary period of, like, changing shifts. Looking around, specifically for you, having actually talked to the dwarf that you were working with and then gotten blasted away by, Kada immediately kind of lays a hand on your shoulder. Okay, yeah, no, I think that's our cue to maybe, like...
Yeah, we need to sneak out of here, okay? Technically, I'm bunking off work, but they don't need to know that. So...
What? Wait, you have a job? Wait, you work?
Yeah, it's kind of involuntary servitude. Let's just go, and quietly. I don't want them to see me leaving.
Okay. Long sort of sigh as...
Do you have a hood you can put on your... you look a bit like a traffic light right now.
Wait, do they have blue traffic lights here? He kind of
Yeah,
stops.
traffic lights are normally blue. What are you talking about, man?
No, I thought they were green.
Which
Wait.
plane have you been hanging out on? Honestly,
All
and
of them.
I give him like a shawl and like wrap it around his hair, kind of a bit concerned it might set on fire, but let's just be quick. Will they like it won't start smoking before we get out of the vicinity?
Sure. So, go ahead and roll a stealth check with advantage because he's
Yeah.
currently helping out as best.
Oh, nice. That's a nat 20 with +8, so 28.
Like a shadow to the wall, you adjourn from this space. Where exactly are you trying to head now?
To the bar.
To the bar. Okay. Interesting.
I mean,
A
if there's
public
somewhere,
space.
if there's somewhere, you want to talk about something, there's no better place than a bar because everyone's busy having their own clandestine conversations. No one really bothers listening to anyone. And also, everyone's drunk, so you can't really trust what anyone says anyway. So you might just, have had, like, too many cocktails or something.
Very true. Very true. So, as you continue along and make your way between concierge and the gambling hall where the bar is situated, are you actually trying to go to Jovi's, or are you sort of looking for a different sort of...
Yeah, no, I think Mercy is probably heading to Jovi's because Jovi's cool and she wants to show off her cool glowy friend.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Well, at this point in time, unfortunately, given that you have moved so supremely stealthily, you've forgotten to sort of think about pacing, and unfortunately, as you arrive, there's a cacophony of people overwhelming the bar. New arrivals are notoriously looking for a place to sort of kick up their feet and drink away their sorrows. And as you actually sort of peer out over the bar, you note that Jovi is not there. Not at the present moment. And Hamish, oh boy, Hamish is swamped. It's...
Sorry.
Where does Jovi even go when she's not at her bar? Does she... I didn't even think if she actually lived somewhere else. I thought she might have just slept underneath it, She's always there.
Mercy sleeps in a closet. She just assumes everyone sleeps in random places.
Looking like charitably what could be described as a flaming babushka. Kata kind of like blinks a couple of times and the question comes to the forefront. Who's Jovi?
Oh, she's my best friend here. She's the bartender. She's super cool. She always makes cool stuff for me to try. I'm kind of like her magical cocktail guinea pig, and it's a pretty good side gig if you ask me. But I mean, I could use my employee privileges and get to the front of the line. But there's not much point if Jovi's not mixing because her drinks are kind of the best. So maybe we come back here when she's back at the bar.
He blinks a few times. So, I gotta admit, new form of magic that you're describing. Is that sort of like alchemy?
Think about it this way. So, when you drink alcohol, right, it does funny things to you. So, you could say alcohol is some kind of magic potion. Well, basically, Jovi has discovered a lot of different kinds of side effects of drinking things. So you could say she's discovered like 50 new forms of alcohol or other chemicals, but they're all great ones. They're not bad ones. I promise it's nothing weird. This is starting to sound way more like some weird drug habit. It's not. They're just good drinks.
I need you to make another stealth check, actually, as I just remembered this happened last session. Oh boy.
Uh-oh. Not so good. 16.
All right. You actually hear his stomping before he actually makes an appearance within your field of vision.
Split.
I
can hear feet.
And so duck as soon as
I hear
possible as you
dragon
hear
feet.
as soon as Bahazet, clutching what seems to be a thief within his claws, stomps past through this crowd. His eyes still sort of glazed over in that familiar way, and feathers still sprouting gloriously from his head. He looks around very judiciously, but with a 16, you do evade his sight.
Ugh. It just yanked Kada down into some shadows.
Pretty much. And actually, given your situating within the space, you are now in the tent of the clerics, the sort of practitioners and healers that have residence aboard the Rites, and you see a familiar figure within Liability, the red tiefling who, at the current moment, sits in a chair, feet kicked up on a stool with like a small scarf draped across his eyes.
Billy, okay, Billy, you're one of my other very good friends on this boat. Can you be an alibi for me, please?
Been an alibi a couple of times. What the hell are you talking about?
So I think I'm supposed to be doing something right now. I'm not sure what because no one ever tells me anything. So whatever I'm supposed to be doing, I'm not doing it because final rights, which really could, it could kind of end up with more income to the final rights. So really, you could say I'm doing it a favor. So a single finger raises. The scarf is pulled down from his eyes, and he looks to you, blinking very, very slowly. What's the lie, and what do I need to lie about? Just tell whoever asks where I am that I am hard at work because I was asked to give a tour to some very important dignitaries at whatever the other end of the ship is to where they're going.
Fire.
Right?
Make a perception check.
No.
10.
Yeah, you smell smoke. And then you look to Kana. Your
No.
very wonderful scarf actually seems to be a little bit singed. You do prevent it from breaking out into a full flame, and Kana immediately
Does
looks
anyone
to
have mending?
you. Liability holds out a hand.
Oh wow, you are really, cross-discipline. And I hand my scarf.
He clutches it. I'm also really tired. Without a second sort of thought, the powers of the Path of Light eject from his palm and sort of fade into the fabric. What once was burned is now mended, and he's sort of, again, clutching it, just shoots it out to you.
Thank you. You're the best, Billy.
Can I sleep now?
Yeah. Thank you.
He still holding the shawl? Just
Oh no, I've probably like rewrapped it around my waist, or I probably wore it like a sash as I do most of it.
the fires on Kata's head go back to a sort of brilliant orange. Look, I'm sorry. I tried to subdue it as best as I could.
Oh no, that's
but
okay.
there's so much
That's cool. I probably shouldn't have just left it there. That was thoughtless of me. Cool. Well, if liability is gonna be an alibi, I guess to be in the same room as your alibi when they part of the ship. So let's.
Just sort of blank stare from Kata. Where's a good place to talk?
Probably somewhere that they wouldn't expect me to go. So probably something like the laundry place, wherever they do that. Where do they do that? Or maybe like cleaning stuff?
Make a history check.
Okay. 4.
Maybe the place where they do the laundry. Shit, where do they do the laundry again? You
Do they even
swear
do
that
that?
you
Do
knew
they
this
just burn
information.
stuff?
Yeah, like is that how
Oh
laundry is
shit!
done?
No,
Is
they
this
have
what laundry is?
prestidigitation and stuff.
Yeah. So you don't even know if there are laundry facilities. You don't even really know why exactly your broom closet, quote unquote, is filled with like discarded sheets of very fine make that, I mean, they're usually stained or something like that, but
It's mystery, really.
yeah.
Okay, last try. How about we go up on top deck? Because everyone's going to be piling into the rights, looking for food, drink, 5-star service. Most people would have gone up onto top deck just to chill out yet. So how about we go out the front, maybe towards the front of the ship? And I highly doubt they'd come looking for people. Also, the view's really pretty because we're still technically in the plane of fire, right? Although I guess maybe that's boring for you at this point. I don't know.
Against all common sense, I fully think you should lead.
Huh. Wow. Well, it's your funeral. Cool. Well, let's go. Hang on. I think we can probably squeeze out. There's definitely some windows or portholes on this side. We can skedaddle out that way rather than going back front door.
And then dump it immediately in the river Styx. No, thank you. I think they've got stairs here.
Oh, I forget. You're not much of a climber, are you? Okay, fine. We'll find some service stairs or something.
How long have you been aboard the Rites? This questioning continues for a little while as you adjourn from the clerical tent.
And we head towards top side.
Yeah. With a history check of 4, unfortunately, man, that's going to take some time. Enough time for Jovi to have just concluded her meeting with Seafoam. It was a rather courteous moment. Raphael, being the representative aboard the Rites and having coordinated with him a couple of times, is very genteel and very understanding of the proclivities of the guest, no matter how strange they are. It was a simple notification that perhaps there was someone aboard that Seafoam might either detest or otherwise be upset by meeting. At the mention of the name Kai, Seafoam seemed to kind of, make an insight check.
$19.
19. Okay. It's very strange. You've seen warlocks before. You've seen people turn to ominous powers without fully understanding them. You've also heard the reasons why they do it, the justifications they come up with. There's really none of that here. It's almost as if Seafoam is resigned, as if this was a duty that had to be fulfilled. Whether or not she wanted it was irrelevant. In the grander scheme, at least. She seems to have taken on this responsibility, probably without really understanding fully what it might entail. You get the sense she wanted to make a deal. She heard the right words at the right time. And now she's just kind of living with it. Nowhere is nowhere as sympathetic. Indeed, she just sort of describes exactly the circumstances by which Kai was brought aboard, including descriptions of a fire genasi that you are unfamiliar with, and indeed confirming that Mercy was accompanying them at some point in time for some reason. Raphael, speaking in the Triton tongue, communicates with Seafoam effortlessly. And as that communication is going on, they adjourn and Nowhere and Raphael meet off to the side, not really regarding you, simply because this is official rights business, and
I'm here as a courtesy. I'm not really here in any official capacity.
yeah. Raphael actually sort of pauses his conversation with Nowhere, who's very, very, uptight is a word that you could use, but Raphael turns to you nonetheless and says, so happy to have you for moral support. At any rate, I'm sure that Hamish is missing you terribly, so you can go ahead and adjourn at your earliest convenience and or preference.
Thank you, Mr. Fife. Appreciate that. And Jovi will look to Seafoam. There's a possibility that you might not think very much of me. I apologize. There is always a seat for you at our bar if you ever feel like you need an ear.
Make a persuasion check.
24.
The invitation is extended, and though no vocalizations rise to meet it, she pauses and nods before again sort of drawing in on herself. You get the sense this was a venture that she pictured going far different in her head.
Any hint of expression on Jovi's face, it just says, I know what this is, and I know how you feel. Like she acknowledges the sort of somber resignation of this situation, and that's the tone when she offers companionship or a sounding board. That is the tone she sends it with.
As the kids say, big oof.
Yeah. No, big mood. Big mood, Seafoam.
Way big mood, yeah. Just you get the vibes that she's laying down. So, as you adjourn from her presence, and as you sort of are whisked away.
My pace slows at the prospect of going back to the bar.
Yeah, no,
if I just wait a little bit. Okay, that's probably one guest. That's probably two less people. All right.
I need you to roll a perception check, please.
15.
Okay, that's an interesting number. Hang on. Oh no. That's not. Okay. So, not as conspicuously as they might have originally assumed, you note a human man, sort of along the corner, kind of a high collar with some very rich furs, clutching the shoulders. They are armed, and they are bearing the amulet of a high roller. It's basically a demarcation that this person in particular is given some lenience for service to a particular god who is actively doing business aboard the Rites. Or either that, or they're just insanely rich and able to circumvent a few of the, shall we say, norms aboard the ship, given their, ability to afford such high luxuries. You're assuming it's the former, especially considering the look that he gives you. Not unfriendly, but definitely analytical. Almost as if he's looking at a deer that he really wants to tear apart.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Are we walking
He's
like
hanging out
crossing
on
paths or?
he's hanging out on a corner that you have to pass.
Ah. So I'm assuming armament. The situation with armament is either you turn it in or you have some sort of permission to carry.
Yeah, and
Is that
it's
how it
registered
works?
with the rights. Yeah.
Okay. She's going to, without staring, try to make as many notes of detail as possible. Just like if I need to pick them out in a lineup, I remember who they are. But as she passes them, just sort of gives a congenial smile and nods and just says, "A gentleman," and continues walking past them, making no effort to really start a conversation.
Pardon, as you crest the corner, he crests behind and sort of hands in pockets walks along with you, a step behind.
She will take a bit of a breath, steel herself, and glance back. Is there something I can help you with?
Friend of a friend of mine told me that perhaps you might know who was speaking to the individual in question, the Triton that you so wondrously invited to your. Was it a bar?
Yes, it's in the public wing of the ship. There's quite a few people down there right now. Actually, you can't miss it.
Sure, I can't. Do you happen to know the individual who last spoke with the Triton?
Well, I'm afraid that's a bit above my pay grade. I'm as concierge. My job is purely in the entertainment and comfort of my guests, of our guests. I don't really have much to say on regards of private business. I'm sorry, I don't believe I can help you. And she's starting to walk.
A general physical description would be wonderful if you could provide it.
Well, I'll be honest. Cursory glance. I can't say I remember much of anything. I'm sorry. And she keeps walking, trying to basically give them a nonverbal, like, fuck off sort of vibe.
You note that the individual starts grinding their teeth and is flanked by as you sort of turn a corner, is flanked by two others who excuse me, who would be eminently familiar to our guest, but perhaps not in the flesh form. A short conversation is exchanged as you get out of Dodge. Shares?
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Given that you were spooked by a couple of illusions of forms who were eminently interested, apparently, in talking to you, excuse me, what have you done in sort of the minutes besides, like the past 30 minutes, I would say?
Kind of frustrated that we're making this pact, so the details haven't been entirely set in stone. So he's kind of been considering what to do. He's got his cane tucked under one arm and is sort of wringing his hands and messing with his gloves, back and forth a few steps either way, with his really quite pronounced limp, because it gets quite bad when he hasn't got his cane with him. But that's kind of what he's doing.
All right. The amulet of the high rollers still situated within your pocket. It pulsates and again sort of skeeves you out just by virtue of the nature of the device. Are you sort of aimlessly wandering the ship? Is there anywhere you're particularly keen on visiting, or is it just sort of like a meander about trying to think of specifics for the contract?
He'll probably go and like find the bar and basically sort of find a corner to sit in, think this over. Next move.
There are a selection of bars that you can certainly adjourn to. One is officially sponsored by the Rites, run usually by the head cook, whose name is Succulent, although he seems to be concerning himself with the cafeteria at this point, making sure that people are fed and whatnot. And there are a few other establishments within Concierge. All depends on the flavor that you're going for. You have elegance within the establishment of a they have been described as a bioluminescent drow. They have not been given a name yet, or at least nobody's asked them the name. You also have a dwarven trio who's much more rustic and, shall we say, boisterous in their abilities. And then you have Hamish, whose skills lie in sort of the arcane art of mixology. It's little known, but well regarded, especially by the customers. For now, I suppose the one you'll be most familiar with would be the one in the gambling hall.
Yeah, I'd probably go to that one if I'm most familiar with it.
Yeah. As you are there, an incubus mans the bar itself. Looking to you, I assume you have a regular order, or at least, a sort of drink that you can turn to on hard times. What does Shez drink when deep in pensive thought?
Shez, like me, likes rum, dark rum, so he'll have whatever's like the darkest, strongest rum.
All right. Interesting.
Under dark and
choice.
stormy, I understand.
Yes, indeed. It is poured very judiciously and purveyed to you by this incubus, who actually roll a perception check real quick.
Okie dokie. Let me just check. I think perception is that is a 16.
Getting a good look at him, looks a lot like the one that bumped into you earlier.
Cool. He'll take note of this. Shaz will remember this. And we'll take the drink when it's offered.
All right. As you do, another figure slides beside you. Another high roller, or at least you can probably reasonably assume by the amulet which hangs around his neck. His affiliation is a little hard to grasp on first glance. I'd actually need you to roll a religion check if you wanted to find out who this person is devoted to.
Pretty bad. That is a 9.
A 9, you say?
So no.
It looks like... It really looks like he's basically got like a couple of waves on his sort of clothing, like waves crashing together and whatnot. Excuse me. And he kind of rubs at his temples and looks to you, raising a glass of his own, which seems to be seawater, or at least some facsimile of it, some saline solution that he downs very quickly. They say know how to keep us liquored up.
Shez will nurse his drink. He takes like a sip, a polite sip. It's a bad day.
Thought I was a shoo-in for a contract. Come to find that apparently is wanting to deal with this and only this and demons. A sort of drunken like slur of insults in Infernal, which you may understand or may not, sort of spills forth before settling down.
Yes, I do understand Infernal, so I would know them.
He basically said some fucking shitty mother. Yeah, nothing intelligible. It's just.
Yeah, Shez will be like, terribly sorry. I know how awful that can be.
Yes. You seem happy, though. What exactly have you got to drink to? This late, early? Just...
he will raise his drink and he just says, "Good times and positive futures, my friend," and just takes a sip.
Got someone for the. He kind of blows a raspberry, trying to figure out exactly who you worship. Oh yeah, he's got no fucking.
And as he's trying to like figure it out, I'm guessing with the bad roll, I'll say that he's distracted because I'll go, bartender, a drink for my friend here, please, and another for me.
The incubus shoots an eye over to you and nods, refilling your drinks. And indeed, you note that the saline solution was something that he had added to the cup itself, as indeed what seems to be basically the interplanar equivalent of tequila is almost filled like halfway. This is a lush that is currently sort of operating here.
Yeah, man. You don't love yourself if you drink tequila. I'm sorry, but
Strong opinions. The views of Mustang are not reflected in the opinions
yes,
of
I have bad personal experience with tequila.
And this guy will as well very soon.
So I feel for him as a player, but Shez has never gotten drunk on tequila. But he'll give him like a sympathetic look anyway. He'll be like, "I'm sure comes along, you'll be able to get that pact, my friend, to win them over."
Yes, it's Triton. I thought that Umberly was called to me. The hell with it. He downs like half of the glass itself, and settles into a sort of very subdued stupor.
Shez is just gonna finish up his first drink and start on his second. And as he's sort of thinking through the next steps with Seafoam in affirming the deal, he's gonna kind of just have like a natural look, glance around at the bar.
Sure. As you are looking around and sort of trying to suss out what's happening, a lot of the new arrivals have just discovered the gambling tables. Poker, baccarat, backgammon. Excuse me, what's the one with the dice? Craps. Wow. Jeez. I know gambling, guys. I really know gambling. Just a plethora of games of chance are going on. And with wild abandon, you don't seem to notice anything amiss around the crowd. You do note, however, a familiar figure in, make a history check.
Okay. It's a nat 20, so that is a 21.
From your vantage point, on the gambling hall, sort of where your lodgings are situated, you've noted this individual before, very much apparently a part of the rites, a bronze dragonborn by the name of Bahazet. Very much a severe figure as he kind of scans his eyes over the gambling tables, making sure that nothing is amiss. He's flanked at this point by... Yep. By two lieutenants, a sort of dwarven character with very trimmed beard, very aquiline nose, bald head, completely bald, as well as a half-elven, a half-elven woman with hair that kind of droops to her shoulders, and a look of sort of not peevishness, but very much a sort of puckered in kind of, almost as if she's perpetually eating a lemon. This dragonborn is kind of speaking in low tones with the two that you know to be Lieutenant Nathaniel Hollowmount and Lieutenant Valerie Dumas. That is Dumas. Bahazet, however, does notice you kind of looking at him, blinks a couple of times, and then excuses himself before making his way towards you. At that particular point in time, Mercy, history check of 4. I need you to make a survival check, just so we can see if you've orienteered yourself away from the current scene.
Survival. Oh, that's not awful. Oof, 11.
Okay, so you've had to circle back around, unfortunately, but you do know that if you go to the floor above the gambling hall and sort of make your way, forward, there will be stairs where you want to go. It took you a little while only because, again, with the history check of 4, there was a little bit of a topsy-turvy time, but you do make your way past the gambling hall on an elevated floor now. What's your passive perception, actually?
Oh, my passive perception is... That sounds like it makes sense.
Sounds like it makes sense.
I think it's 15. Wait, yeah. Yeah, I'll call it 15. It's definitely at least 15.
Okay. So with that, you actually note Bahazet is in the gambling hall at the current moment, approaching an individual who you've never seen before, very charitably. Shez, if you could provide just a quick description of Shez once again, just give us the highlights of the general silhouette.
They're all highlights. What are you talking about?
All highlights. I'm so sorry.
That seems a bit contradictory for a Raven Queen employee.
Being all highlights.
Is fairly tall. He's 5'11", I think. Yeah, and he's got grey skin, kind of like a drow. And he is elven looking like a drow, but his skin is kind of a bit paler, a bit more sickly. And he has strange tattoos and markings all over his body, but not on his face. He has vivid pink eyes, with a scar over the left one, and he has hair that's shaven on the left-hand side, and it all tumbles in black locks, really long on the right-hand side, like past his shoulder. He wears a mantle of raven's feathers with a big feathery hood that seems to have like something heavy and white sticking out the back of it. He then also wears black leathers and a black cloak with purple lining, very gaudy. He has a cane with the raven's head as the handle. And he also has his shirt and his jacket very wide open in a very deep V-neck. He's one of those warlocks. And he has a big raven tattoo on his chest, a raven with wings spread out, and its talons like reaching like outwards. That's Shez.
Yeah, you do get a good look at this very, 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 very good warlock character. Kata actually kind of looks as well and like looks to you. Is that normal?
I mean,
Like,
there was like a rotting guy here, like a rotting hyena guy, just a few weeks ago, and I had to like smash their head in because they tried to bite another guest. So yeah, it's not that weird.
what? A very, very confused like exclamation comes from Kata as you drag him along. Bahazet, however, is concerned with a high roller who seems, well, one who seems a little bit out of it, and another who is simply enjoying their stay. So as Bahazet makes his way to the bar, he looks to your passed out companion and says, "Here I was thinking that Barnabas would stop drinking seawater." And he kind of looks at the glass itself and pours it behind the bar. You get the sense that there was a grate that he is pouring it into. Slides the glass down to the incubus, who catches it very, very abruptly and looks to you. "A very fine day to you, Shez. I trust that the rites have been exceeding every expectation."
Beyond expectations you could ever conceive.
Marvelous, marvelous. I do hope that you drink for a happy occasion.
Like I said to my friend here, I am drinking to good times and very prosperous looking futures.
A marvel, a marvel. Please, feel free to drink as you please. Of course, your expenses are covered concerning, well, he sort of looks to the raven at your back and blinks a couple of times. Concerning your affiliations.
And Shez will do a little bow, a little hand flourish, and say, "Many blessings of the Raven Queen upon you, my friend."
And 1,000 more to you. He picks up kind of Barnabas rather judiciously and sort of retches his shoulder. "Come now, must get you to where you need to be." Nathaniel! He like cries out in a very commanding voice as Nathaniel hobbles over, and they have a little bit of a talk. A small device is actually produced from Nathaniel's back pocket. A code seems to be entered and then planted on the ground. A skittering chair kind of pops from this capsule, allowing Barnabas, affording Barnabas a little bit of a seat as the chair adjusts to the weight of this individual and then skitters away, escorted by Nathaniel and another guard.
Yeah, Shez will just give a wave.
Artificers, always so helpful.
My friend. At this point, would I have noticed this tiefling who entered dragging someone behind them?
Go ahead and make a perception check.
Let's see, perception. That is a 16.
Okay. What you've basically noticed is that how to say it? You've noticed them noticing you. So as they ascend the staircase and as they cross the sort of in between the bar, which has, which has not mirrors, windows behind it, although the make is not exactly clear, you are able to note Mercy and her companion being whisked away toward the front of the ship. They're not out of reach, but I mean,
Um, Bahazet is still sort of nearby, and I feel it would be rude to just leave in case he might want to say something else. Shez will let out like a big sort of natural sounding sigh, like like a content sigh, and on the out breath, the exhale, the tattoo lifts, and you see like if you pay much of attention, you see the mist lift up his throat. The tattoo fades and wisps out of his mouth, and mutter under his breath, "Hawthorne, darling, do go follow them." And the mist forms into the raven and flies off after this tiefling.
Like I said, all highlights.
No half measures.
Bahazet notes Hawthorne's departure and looks to you. I do so hope that it was something well that caught your eye. Nothing of concern.
Hawthorne was complaining again, so I let him go stretch his wings, that's all.
He kind of narrows his eyes to you. Is that...
When he does, and I can see the kind of doubtful look, I'll be like, trust me, you've never had a sentient tattoo before. Never get one, darling.
Fair enough. And he sort of looks to his own tattoo, being a excuse me, being I think a totem warrior, barbarian, and sighs. Very well, very well. I will trust you until such time as you prove untrustworthy, which I pray will be long after you depart.
Sure it will, Bahazet. And
Valerie?
trust me, pray your trust.
Ignoring, calling to Valerie, stomping past the gambling hall where you see there's been a bit of a scuffle that needed to be broken up between a couple of Duragar and what seemed to be a tiefling who's kind of like clutching their pearls. Literally, there actually are pearls involved in this somewhat weird exchange. Hawthorne follows Mercy and Kada. And Jovi, you do note a spectral raven that has just ejected from the bar and gone up the stairs sort of in the opposite direction that you are heading. Sort of like the staircase is over there, you're the one going down here, and you see it sort of trail behind.
Can I get a quick reminder which bar we're talking?
The bar at the gambling hall.
Okay.
So you are on your way, diligently making your way back.
At a very even pace.
Reasonable. And
to be fair, the pace quickened after that encounter.
Yeah, probably.
I was like, okay, maybe I should start walking.
Yeah.
I just want to interject, sorry, that I am following after my raven. I'm like 3 minutes behind Hawthorne, maybe. But yeah, I am following after.
Yeah.
Haven't just abandoned my raven.
Yeah, in the 30 seconds where you've sort of afforded it, Jovi sees this and returns back to Hamish's establishment, which is mercifully quieted down to a slight roar, as indeed a couple of the patrons have shifted attentions now to the bioluminescent realm, to the dwarven trio. Hamish is a little disheveled. The beard is not as fabulously coiffed as it was this morning. And as he kind of continues to sort of mix at his own pace, you actually note attending the back of the bar is a semi-formless spirit that he has summoned, an unseen servant that diligently gathers reagents and ingredients for him to properly assemble into whatever drinks are deemed appropriate. Still pissed when he sees you, actually, as he kind of shoves a tongue in his cheek.
She puts a hand up. looking a little shaken, trying to be like, just put me to work. I'm sorry. I'm back.
Mm-hmm.
She starts washing her hands, just like prepping.
Mm-hmm. And you're back for whole
For the
day
day.
now?
For the day. I'm
For
sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I still owe you
Sorry.
dinner.
Make an insight check.
Okay. 19.
The hard exterior gradually kind of fades a little bit and then goes right back up because he's still mad at you. But nevertheless, he kind of breathes in very deeply and attends to the customers in his more jovial fashion.
Now that I'm back.
Now that you're back, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, she'll just get to work. Just passing out drinks, getting more focused. Honestly, focusing on the crowd seems to be slightly more preferable than letting herself think too much about what happened with Seafoam and this elven fellow and those dudes with swords or knives or whatever. Sharp things.
Sharp things. Very sharp things. I would like you at this point to roll a wisdom check. Just a general wisdom check.
Flat 20, not natural.
As you continue along and drone into the monotony of the work, because, these are not cocktails or anything that you are too adventurous that you are assembling. Within the monotony, there is a small droning in the back of your mind. It's unfortunately familiar. It happens usually when you're closer to the evening, and it just stays there for a little while before slowly and softly fading away. For a moment, only for the briefest moment, as you look out on the crowd, you fear that you see the same eyes. They're not, thankfully. But that moment accelerates your heart rate and then calms just as quickly.
Jovi swipes a bottle from the unseen servant to do something she was working on, and then sort of like holds it out, waiting for it to take it back.
As you sort of hold it out, Hamish actually clicks his fingers, a small spark emanating, and the unseen servant fades into mist as you hold out the bottle expectantly. Well, sorry about that.
See, I thought we were going to have 3 pairs of hands today. Fine.
Well, no, I got you here. You can more than handle yourself, can you?
I try. Sure, I'll take the compliment and inconvenience in stride.
Well, good. He sort of laughs to himself as the workday continues to drone on. Mercy. Thank the gods that you were able to make it to the front of the ship. Finally. The front of the ship has not been described properly yet, but it's similar to the back, except for no particularly cacophonous engines or smog produced from their powering. The general outlay of the ship is quite regal in a sense. There are many columns which line the sort of outer hull, each of which hangs either a paper lantern, which is fixed with a simple either gas or wax candle. But there are some more permanent fixtures which are powered by soul light, basically, whenever a debt is collected and a individual dies, having fallen short of expectations, they must be purged through the fires of literal fire. And as such, their souls are deemed worthy for fuel, at least for a time, until such time as they run out and suddenly find themselves rocketed into the Blood War, where if they get themselves killed, they then come back as a soul, as a soul to be used for fuel. You'd never really thought about the cruelty which lies underneath the facade of class and debonair air of the Rites.
Oh, she has now, and it's going in the box.
Yep, absolutely. It's got a whole lot of things to discuss, especially now that Kata's aboard and wanting to speak to you, but not really sure exactly when or where is safe. The outlooking view of the elemental plane of fire stretches on before you for a long while. You see the familiar mountain range, which you not even, a few hours ago did come to, or did go to and come from. But Kata himself is focused on other things.
So, as quiet as it gets. I guess firstly, it's pretty great to see you here. I've been trying to get off this boat for the last month, 2 months. I don't even know how long it's been now. How long has it been?
Long time. I was laboring under the impression that you had things have gotten really complicated. Okay. Way that time moves is a little bit different with those of us who can hop planes. Thankfully, I kind of recognize the system that they're using here. It's not too dissimilar from my own, but look, who was the one that you talked to, the one that I sort of found out you talked to? Did they really mention exactly why you were here?
Nope. I just remember a white tiefling with white horns said that. I can't remember what they said. Why did I even talk? What? Who? I'm starting to be very suspicious of that whole conversation. Why? Do you know them?
Oh, I found out who they were. I didn't tell you. Okay. Given the sort of tone that I'm getting from you, you might not have been the best of friends, right? You didn't really like them. You didn't know they were a cousin of yours or anything like that.
Wait, what? A white tiefling? I don't even really know my cousins. Do I have cousins? Do I have aunts and uncles?
Well, yeah.
Wait, did Dad have tiefling siblings? We haven't talked about them.
Who are you? Final Rites Edition.
Okay, look. When you disappeared, I was really worried about you. And, when I get worried about a friend, I kind of go off the deep end in terms of, finding out what exactly is going on or trying to figure out what's exactly going on.
Oh, well, thank you. As long as you haven't put yourself in any irrevocable debts or anything, I'm sure we're fine.
Yeah, no, totally. No, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Good, because I get really pissed off when people sell their soul for no reason.
Haven't sold
I've tried to put some notes in the box about it. There's way too much of this going around. It's very unhealthy. The kind of encouragement that goes on around here thing. So I'm pleased you haven't gotten yourself into.
Well, there's that's a little bit of the thing, and that's what I was talking to that very, 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 very just not pleasant tiefling about. He kind of stops himself, and at this point, I'd like you to tell me your or wait a minute, your passive perception was 15, right?
Yeah.
Shaz, can you roll a stealth check for Hawthorne, please?
Yeah. That computer froze. A dirty 20.
Oof.
Oof. Situating yourself next to one of the soul lights, and then quickly adjourning to one of the paper lanterns with a actual candle within. You note that Hawthorne has now sort of taken residence within earshot of both this tiefling and their fire genasi friend.
Yeah. Selling souls. Little, like, ooh, kind of, yeah. On, I can get. But I definitely notice the tiefling is clearly against selling souls. So I'm like, I need to find a way to get this alone or win them over.
Yeah, there's a lot of conversations that need to take place, and immediately as Kata kind of stops and looks to you, Mercy, he... Okay, I'll admit, when I found out where you were, that kind of sent me into panic mode, and I didn't really think beyond that. You know me, and I sort of... I sort of worry just perpetually, especially when it comes to friends. Look, you don't know why you're here.
Nope.
Okay? I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
Or at least I think I'm about to tell you. Or I'm about to tell you what I think you're doing aboard the...
I mean, I'd like you to just tell me.
Well, I'm working up to that, which is taking a lot of sort of mental and charismatic energy, which I don't know if you've noticed. It's kind of running out.
Dude, you're a sorcerer. You've got charisma for days.
Well, yeah, no, I know that, like, from a mechanic standpoint, yeah. But... Oh, man. He kind of looks out to the elemental plane of fire, and you sort of briefly see him consider, is it just easier to jump off this ship and just take a swim than address
I
what
just
the
do like
problem is?
a awkward slide in between him and the...
Okay.
No.
I think that you're connected with a particular individual of consequence who is in charge of this ship.
Does this individual have a name?
I'm assuming so. I don't know it.
Cool. And what's their link to the white tiefling?
They were a progenitor of that tiefling who is a cousin of yours, which would mean that you are a direct line from that individual, very, very important person, to you.
Okay. But why send me here and not tell me and not make any effort to make communication?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm thinking it's because, and correct me if I'm wrong, devils usually have lots and lots of plans that they don't tell anybody about. Like ever.
Well, I guess the positive side to this is I guess that means I have devil blood, not demon blood, because demons are meant to be like a bit more totally whack and stuff.
Wait. Time out. He sort of narrows his eyes. I was under the impression that the Final Rites was a devil institution alone.
I mean, okay, so Final Rites, and don't quote me on any of this because I'm still kind of, I haven't read the
Make a history check. Make a history check real quick.
Before you meta.
20. And that's
Oh,
20.
nat 20. All right.
So go review Jason's notes.
Go ahead and describe.
Okay, so as far as I'm aware, the Final Rites was originally of devil design. The idea of it was a devil thing. However, the concept being that it's a neutral ground, so we've had demons on board. I mean, I've watched my best friend serve drinks to demons, and usually that's doesn't really happen between those two sides. And whilst I know obviously devils and demons, shebang, especially demons, right, they don't really shirk at the idea of unnecessary bloodshed. It's kind of comes with the part and parcel of a blood war. But a neutral ground could be a good place for making shady deals. Races as well. So I guess it's just a good way to get a leg up in the war. I don't think they actually want a neutral ground in kind of for peaceful. It just seems like another way to get your political kind of way through in sneaky, undercover places. And also it's a great place for unscrupulous types to come looking for souls and for people to look to go and make pacts with all sorts of goodness knows what beings for power or safety or whatever. It's just, that kind of one-stop shop kind of place. So we get like every kind here.
Make an insight check for me, please. And Shez, roll me a stealth check. DC 15.
Okay, that's 22 on insight.
Stealth. That is 17.
Oh, still above. Wow. Okay.
Just about.
Just about, but still above.
Yeah, like he
So,
goes to make like a really like offended noise, but then like muffles it.
Oh boy. As you are sort of listing off the history of the rites, as you understand it, Mercy, Kata's eyes continue to get wider, like almost as wide as saucer plates. And you get the sense that he has had one impression of the situation, which has now been subsequently shattered, and he's trying to sort of come up with the remnants of maybe a semblance of a hint of a theory that is.
I make a motion like I'm trying to kind of brains back through his ears. It looks like they're leaking out right now.
He like, and as you do this, the hair kind of raises back to orange as he snaps to attention. Oh wow, okay. So, just again, what I'm trying to understand here. This is a neutral ground between demons and devils, right?
Yeah, and sometimes celestials too. I mean, I've seen them turn up.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, more complicating factors. Really need to know that. Abyssal, just throwing that out there. Any sort of mind-bending horrors that have traipsed aboard and like ordered a gin and and soda.
I'm pretty sure that weird undead chompy thing that I smacked around a bit looked pretty abyssal. Kind of gross.
Great. Okay. So I read about these individuals of exceptional power known as sponsors. You wouldn't happen to know whether or not that's just devils or just demons, would you?
I mean, I was under the impression devils, because they wouldn't want the shareholders to have, power and stuff. You know how all that rubbish bureaucracy thing works? Yeah, they wouldn't want the power to be in the hands of the enemy, right?
With a natural 20, unfortunately, there was one conversation that you maybe sort of might have heard a little bit of, where somebody was complaining, a particularly sloshed, Aaron, yes, actually, was complaining about how demons don't know how to run a good business, even with devils holding their hands. So,
Oh wait, no, mate. Yeah, we might have some abyssal shareholders.
oh,
I don't know them. I mean, I'm basically lowest rank here. Well, most of the time I do what I'm told. Obviously, this evening is a bit of that. But they don't really tell the likes of us who's really running it.
Mercy, I don't mean to impress upon you the urgency of this, but the sooner we can maybe talk to the captain of this vessel.
You want to talk to the captain?
Yeah.
Dude, I've never even seen the captain. The captain doesn't just wander around.
I think.
But like, why? What's like the urgency? I mean, sure, you've said that I might be related to some sponsor or something's going on, but I mean.
Oh, you may just be sort of being carted to a particular individual who saw you as, shall we say, a person of exceptional talent, worth, and energy that they might siphon and or otherwise consume for power?
I mean, I thought you were going a whole different direction.
Yeah, no, I really would wish that it would be in another direction, but these are demons and devils we're talking about. Any power they can keep to themselves, especially from their own bloodline, definitely something they want.
Okay, but if I'm being, I mean, I assume out of character. The last couple of months we've been traveling, we haven't done a complete circuit, right?
Not yet, no.
Cool. And I guess as she's kind of running that through her head, what planes haven't we visited yet? And I'm assuming she's specifically thinking of circles of hell.
You have not visited any circles of hell.
Okay, well, it doesn't narrow it down much. Let's just hope it is, because that's where we're going next.
Well, yeah, that's why I thought it was so urgent, because...
I mean, yeah, I totally get that now. I get the urgency. Yep, thanks for bringing that to my attention. I am of the opinion, though, maybe the captain isn't a very good person to speak to. Why? I mean, as far as we're concerned, that's exactly what they want to do. You know, make the delivery. I mean, they'd much rather please a sponsor than care about a bouncer.
Okay, so the captain is a direct thrall and not... Okay.
I mean, I don't know, but why would they care? I mean... like you just said, these are devils. If they're getting paid to do their job, why would they want to, mess with the status quo?
Because, funny thing about false assumptions, I thought that maybe the captain was some sort of neutral party that oversaw the final rites and nothing else. Man,
I mean, that'd be cool.
I'm good at research. I'm very good at research. Have I mentioned I'm very good at research?
But if that's the case, why haven't they been paying attention to any of?
Because I think if they ignore you, then everybody will. If that makes sense. Because as soon as somebody figures out who you are exactly, then everybody will know.
Well, with that knowledge, maybe I have been paying a little bit too attention to my belief.
Shez, you are hearing all of this.
I am. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Loading full of intel.
But I mean, at the end of the day, fuck that guy, right? He can't have my essence. It's a very Skeksis thing to do.
Yeah, no.
Dark crystals in this reality. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah, streetlights, dark crystal, just a whole bunch of everything. Yeah, no, like totally feel you on that. Don't get me wrong. I just thought I thought you needed saving. Apparently you do, but also it's gotten way more complicated.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, and yes, it sounds like I do. I don't know how to go about that. Personally, I've never been very good at taking my own advice or saving myself.
That's not.
Jovi might know what to do. Jovi's very wise.
Sure.
Well, actually, let's put it this way. I don't really trust many people but contrary to popular belief. But Jovi's, I'm pretty sure she's good.
Pretty sure? Yes.
Guys, are they like in a room, like with a door shut behind them?
No, they are like a whole ass on like the side of a boat as people are walking by. They're
Shuffleboard being played 3K.
Okay, well, as Mercy says, like, oh, I'm not good at taking my own advice. Will be standing about a few feet, 1 or 2 feet behind her, and will reach out with his cane and politely tap her with the head of it on the shoulder, and says, "My advice."
Your advice? What is your advice? I thought you were going to follow that up by saying, my advice is to blah, blah, blah. So I guess are you expecting me to ask you what your advice is? Did you just hear all of that? Do you think they heard all of that, kind of?
Yes, I did hear all of that because I'm afraid that you haven't quite mastered the art of planning in secret. Standing out on a deck and like he'll gesture to the whole deck. He's like, not the best place to make
my first choice
quiet
was
plans.
the bar.
No, I am not an unscrupulous type.
I look him up and down. Well, if that's the case, you might want to rethink your kind of aesthetic because it looks pretty unscrupulous.
My darling, I'm afraid you just haven't seen true fashion, and he'll look judgmentally at her clothes.
Hey, excuse me, I collected this off of some dignitary from, like, a place. But they look very wealthy.
You're telling me you got your clothes from Fantasy Goodwill?
No way. I got my clothes from a chute in my broom closet, which deposits random fabrics at different times. And then I repurpose them.
It seems, my darling, you need a sponsor.
I mean, from the sounds of it, if you just heard all that, I kind of have one, but I think they want to eat my soul.
Yes, one that wouldn't want to eat your soul, darling.
Kata actually sort of pokes out from behind Mercy and like takes a very, very good look at your at your vestments. Doesn't know why you're so obsessed with ravens. Like at all.
Wow.
Oh yeah, can I actually roll to see if I can get that?
That like
I'm
when you're
rolling
really
single fucking digits, and I don't know why. Especially
Can I roll to
like
see
when
if the raven aesthetic clicks?
Go ahead and roll a religion check. I don't know why.
It's like when you're really into horses. She's really into
Going through that raven phase. We all do it.
Yeah.
I rolled an 18.
Okay, Mercy. Unlike Kata, you immediately recognized. Oh, right, this is the Raven Queen. Oh no, this is the Raven Queen.
When you say patron, do you mean the creepy old lady?
Old lady.
I suggest you don't badmouth her around me, but
I didn't badmouth her. Do you think age is inherently bad?
Your sponsor. I have plenty of money after all. Can you not
so
tell?
we mean like
And
a
he'll
monetary
hold up that and says, I believe a high roller means something on this ship.
Mercy, make a history check.
Oh my god. Does Mercy know anything about how this ship runs? She's doing
I rolled a 13. I know something.
Yeah, people who hold this amulet, holy shit, they're important. like High Roller does hold some meaning to you. They're allowed to operate aboard the Final Rites as an independent kind of party, so long as they keep their business registered with the Rites. Which, by the way, Shez, given that you did indeed make a contract, in order to secure it, you'll have to talk to Consternation, but that's a different conversation. Indeed, as Kata kind of looks to you, Mercy, expectantly. Floor is yours. What? Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Laugh when I'm nervous.
I mean, it's very kind of you. I mean, you hold up a big bag of monies, but what kind of thing are you looking for in return? I don't really feel like my soul. The whole point of this mission is to preserve it.
But I'm feeling rather generous today. May I say that I share a problem right now. I've rather been in the same shoes before. And I believe a sponsor like me could teach you, so choose, how to play the game.
Okay.
Okay, is this like a Game of Thrones thing, or is this like Baccarat? Because I understand Baccarat a hell of a lot more than that.
Hey, as long
This
as
is
the
like-
season finale is better, right?
This is like fantasy
Yeah,
Game
okay.
of Thrones, but as if it was written like actually true to the books and not the actual show. Yes.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
My brain is melting. Jovi's got a nosebleed somewhere else on the ship.
This fourth wall has just quickly crumbled and then been restructured with.
I must say, a change of clothes and moving out of a broom cupboard and into quarters much more befitting of somebody who's going to be learning how to deceive and manipulate certain people.
Okay. I mean, I'm listening. What kind of thing are
I'm
you
a
after in
choice.
return?
Why are you listening? Why are we listening?
Hey, I listen to everyone who talks to me.
That's not good, like, at all.
I would take you on as a sort of run the odd job for me, but other than that,
You promise I don't forfeit my soul to the Shadowfell.
there's a whole different system for that. And I would not have gone about it this way if I intended to take your soul for the Shadowfell. You know,
I mean-
because we big scary Raven Queen types only want to suck up souls and devour small children. And he
Well,
puts
you
on a
heard
very
it from
sarcastic
them.
smile.
Well, okay, you say that. How many children have you devoured? Kata, like, seriously asks.
And he will give Kato a very serious, like, spooky look. With prestidigitation and make his eyes look scary, and goes, "Just the one."
Kata, being of a very nervous disposition, buys that wholesale and sort of looks to Mercy. Okay, yeah, no, maybe. Wait a minute, can you even do this? Like, this is a neutral ground, sort of.
Hush, hush, hush. I just grabbed Kata's hand. Chill. Remember what we used to say, breathing techniques. I'm listening because I listen to everyone. Doesn't mean I take everyone. So, in return for monetary sponsor and some kind of Raven Queen Queer Eye service, I do a few odd jobs for you, which, I've got to admit, the idea of actually choosing to would be quite a nice, refreshing change. This, for once, it helps to have a side. And you promised there would be no hidden kind of small print charges.
No hidden small print charges. I can even draft up a contract for you, if you so wish, and you can read it through yourself. No strings attached. And your friend here is welcome to join in, too, if he likes.
I mean, I don't speak for Kato. Kato, what are you intending to do? I mean, you got to board the Rites.
A long pause. Long pause as Kata just shakes his head and I, look, this was a conversation that really should have happened in private. I really do appreciate that you brought that to our attention. What's your name?
Shez.
Chaz? Wait.
Dutiful servant of the Raven Queen.
Yeah, good duty you're doing. He kind of looks to Mercy very nervously, and you see the cogs in his head sort of clunking along. Wait a minute. No. I don't think you can do this. He sort of says to Mercy.
Okay, is there some kind of deep magic preventing me from...
Well, that depends. There might be. Did your name appear in the ledger of the final rites? As
Apparently? I've never signed anything, though.
listed under crew.
Oh, shit. I don't know. I never asked nowhere if there was a specific section for people who burst in on poker table.
But you were listed in the ledger. If you were listed under crew, because I did learn this distinction, because again, very good at research. If you were listed under crew, you can't take on this contract because that would violate the neutrality clause of the final rites, because you would be showing preference to just sort of motions up and down Shez's whole shit and turns back
all this happening.
all this.
I mean, I have a very honest face. Could we do this without a written contract?
You could.
Yeah, but if they find out, and your crew.
If they find out, what are they
Out.
gonna do to me? Kill me? Big demon
How would they
daddy
find
gets
out?
to eat my soul.
Yeah, Shez says, well, how would they find out? And he'll look directly at this Fire Genasi and go, unless somebody snitched.
Okay, now hold on. I'm not in any way sort of condemning this plan of action. I'm just simply saying that I want my friend to have her bases covered. What the hell are you looking at? And then you see like a couple of shuffleboarders have like
So happy that became canon.
paid attention to you for a brief moment before kind of going back to their business. All right, fine. No words for her. Maybe we can talk. Just promise me one thing.
What would that be?
She doesn't get hurt.
Shez will hold out his hand. I promise.
I never get hurt. I'm too quick.
You get hurt all the time. You literally hurt yourself with a bottle opener the last time I saw you.
And healed.
Yeah, but there
It's
was,
a flesh wound.
yeah, but there was like blood loss. Like,
I know you don't like blood, but that's okay. You're here now. You can cauterize any grievous injury.
well, yeah, I know I can do that, but what about you? You can't cauterize shit.
Shez nods when Mercy says that, and it's like, she makes a valid point.
I got a friend who works with spirits. They can just pour something very strong alcohol.
Wait, okay, when you say spirits, do you mean the alcohol or literal? Never mind. He grabs.
I've never asked.
Grabs Shez's hand and shakes it very vigorously.
All right. Well, if we're not doing this with a contract, the best way to kind of shake on an agreement is with a toast. I suggest we all go get drinks.
Copious amounts of
Yeah.
alcohol sounds like a very good idea.
Yeah. Never know. Maybe we'll spot the captain. Or maybe I can berate Bahazet some. Actually, no. He thinks I'm at work.
What?
Let's not see Bahazet.
Wait a minute. Are you working or are you?
Technically, yes. I'm giving two very distinguished guests facilities.
So you're a member of the crew?
Yeah, I am a member of crew. I don't know if I'm officially a member of the crew. It was very shady. Like
Okay,
I said,
well,
involuntary servitude.
doesn't matter. It's still a part of the crew. I just saved your life. And he just continues walking forward in the direction of what he assumes to be alcohol.
I just walk with him and smile. Say, hey, Shez, was it? I think it was Shez. You know, like, hey, when you kind of welcome people, you say, hey, to Shez.
Pardon? He
Never
looks
mind.
very perplexed.
You need to try one of Jovi's popping candy mountain things. They're amazing. Do you like sweet drinks? Actually, you strike me more as a kind of maybe a dry wine type. I don't know. Maybe it's the open shirt. Anyway, let's go get drink.
Yeah,
Huh.
Shez looks rather startled by all these words that have just suddenly rushed out of Mercy's mouth. And then as soon as she walks away, he calls Hawthorne to him, and they both kind of look at each other like really confused, like, is this a good idea? And then
I made
just
a terrible mistake.
lets Hawthorne sort of fade into back into his chest tattoo and just follows with its cane thunking along and a slight limp.
Hawthorne just sort of looks to you and shakes his beaked head. As
He
sinks
shrugs
back
his
into it.
wings, like, I don't know, man.
Just like, fucking, it's a plan. Congrats. I mean, as you depart, I need you to roll perception checks. I'll roll one
You
from
got
Kayla.
it. Ugh, 8. I am very focused on being a good tour guide.
Perception. 1 second. That is perception again. Wisdom. That is 21.
As Hawthorne fades back into your chest, you sort of breathe. Mercy, you're distracted by Kata, who's also distracted by, like, saying you're buying drinks because, hey, I saved your life, because if Bahazet is bossing you around, that means you're part of the crew and your eternal soul would have been damned if you violated neutral clause of final rites, because, hey, that's actually something that's, strictly enforced because devils, but apparently demons are also there. As this tirade is sort of cascading, Shez, you do note a similar figure, not illusory, as far as you can tell, that did follow you, of a half-orc, furred, claw-marked gentleman who kind of eyes you very closely as he seems to be smoking a pipe of some sort. I'd like you with a perception check of 21. I'll give you the opportunity to roll a religion check.
Okay. Religion, intelligence. 17.
There are a bounteous number of beast gods that many pray to. There are a great many, who act as patrons. But there is one that is all at once cunning and ruthless. One that is eminently interested in illusion and concealment, interspersed with terrible bits of bloody violence. The Beast Lord, the Black-Blooded One. They are known as the Stalker, Render, Hern. But their true name is Malar. Hunters and clerics of this domain, shall we say, are eminently familiar with the ways to catch prey. And when prey is robbed from them, they tend to hold a grudge.
Yeah. Upon meeting eyes with this person, considering it's on a deck full of people, so Shez kind of assumes, this guy won't make a move, like, not out here in the open when it's supposed to be neutral, quote-unquote, ground. So Shez will use prestidigitation and just, like, make his eyes flash like a really vivid pink. Like a warning signal, and then turns and leaves after Mercy and her friend.
Kata, Yes.
Yeah.
As you walk and talk and enjoy yourselves, Jovi,
Yes.
I'll say that a bit of time has passed. Some time later, the bar that you are situated at is now a shell of its former self, considering
Thank
that
goodness.
considering that there are now only about 10 people milling about at any one time, all perfectly content to sort of conversate and slowly, mercifully, slowly consume their drink. As this all occurs, Hamish is busy getting his station clean. You note that he's usually a little bit more attentive to the entire bar, but he's specifically sort of getting the affairs settled around his own sort of immediate station, and looks to you. Succulent has an eye for good ingredients. Got many more compliments today, even when I was working at half capacity.
I'm glad that I picked out the right stuff then. And I'm sorry for Balin. I did come back.
If you keep saying you're sorry, that means you didn't mean it the first time.
You keep looking cross is all.
He kind of stops and sighs. Yes, there's just a few reasons for that.
Anything directly my fault?
If it were, do you really think I'd tell you?
Absolutely not. You are allowed to, though. Just putting that out there. You know, talking's kind of a expected thing with a... And she just sort of waves off before fully doing that sort of motion.
Between yeah, you know. He sort of stops and looks. I find it easier to talk to strangers. Whenever you talk to friends, and he motions between the two of you, things get messy real quick. I talked to a friend today, actually.
Good talk?
Well, I don't think they recognize me, so... He kind of stops and gulps. And leans over and whispers, yeah, I think it was a pretty good talk.
Good.
Wow. Never want a blast from the past to just hit you in the face.
Don't I know it?
Maybe not like this, but yeah.
I don't know if there's anything I can really do to help with anything, but you know I'm here, right? Been throwing that offer out all over the place today.
Yeah.
Not like... Yeah, anyway.
See, he steps back. I'm well aware. Don't worry. As you see, Mercy, Fire Genasi,
not on fire this time, though. Or rather, not smoking.
Not smoking. And Ashadar Kai.
Ooh, I recognize that fellow.
Yeah. You recognize that handsome face. As Mercy, Joey's finally at the fucking bar.
I just stride straight on up there. Where have you been?
Where have you been? Oh my god.
I have been doing my, and I make sure I'm saying, I have been doing my duties aboard this vessel in guiding this fine dignitary around our establishment. Oh, and this guy. This is kind of...
Has Mercy told Jovi that name at all? Like, is she aware of Kaida?
That depends, Mercy. Have you
That's what I'm
ever
asking.
said-
I'm
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's gonna be like, oh, you, or I don't know who that is, sort of thing.
I think she might have mentioned in passing, like, friends she used to have, but it would have been in kind of passing conversation, really. She's not really, ironically, goes into great detail about her personal life.
Okay. Just into other people's personal lives.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So Jovi sort of glances over Mercy's shoulder and sees Shez, who she doesn't know his name yet, and sort of nods, and then looks to Kaida. It's a pleasure to meet you. My name's Jovi. Offers a hand.
You're the one that
Six-fingered
deals.
gloved hand.
He kind of looks at that, nods. Okay, that just grasps your hand. This is usually accommodating for either like 5 or less, so it kind of like gets the second pinky, but he shakes it nonetheless. Good to meet you.
You too. How do you know our girl here?
Oh,
Just met friend?
yeah, traveling companion for wow, how long, Mercy?
It wasn't a long time. We had a pretty good run, actually. We went all the way from Baldur's Gate, Waterdeep, went up to Neverwinter, the Sword Coast. That was our playground.
Yeah, and-
all right. I have heard vague and tragically scant details. It is an absolute pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, and I was stuck on the Forgotten Realms for a little while. Didn't find the motivation to hop around and stretch my legs, and oh boy, I found it real quick.
Well, welcome aboard. Honestly, you know what, Mercy? Drink on me. What would you like, Kaida?
Oh, heck yeah.
Not on me. Not on you. You have your free drink. He gets mine.
Whatever she's having.
And the Jovi just sort of glances at Mercy.
What's that really sweet Candy Mountain one? I can't remember what it's called.
All right, Big Rock. All right, I'll get you.
Yeah, that one. I'm doing your accent now. How'd you like that?
It's
Hamish,
very uncanny and disturbing.
Hamish steps in at this point and looks over to Shez. Apologies for the rudeness of my mentee and co-worker. What would you be having tonight?
I was just going to get to it.
Absolutely no rudeness at all. I was merely being introduced to the lovely day.
Marvelous.
And he and says enchanté and like kisses her on the back of the hand.
I did not catch your name, sir.
Shez, servant of the Raven Queen.
Oh no, it's a pleasant bunch of folks that I've helped. Hamish kind of smiles and holds out his hand. Hamish Cressmail at your service.
Shez, he shakes Hamish's hand firmly.
Very nice, very nice. Must say that don't see as many adherents out and about, especially a place like this. Thought that you were usually, shall we say, sequestered in temples, or I don't know, studying around grave sites or something.
Really a stereotype. Let's study knowledgeable people.
Indeed. Well, it's good to see the knowledge being put to such interesting use. And he sort of looks at your general aesthetic, sort of like, okay, yeah, no, this is not the weirdest I've seen. But you must be parched. What will you be having to drink?
Rum, please. The darkest and strongest you've got.
I've got something for you. I actually had it brewed on the elemental plane of ash for a little while. Just a hint of that smokiness in with the sweet. See if I can't get that for you.
Cool. Thank you.
Jovi turns around at the bar and says, "You better hold some of that for my birthday."
There'll be plenty for you, don't worry. Wait, when's your birthday?
Jovi rattles it off. I mean, do we really know what day it is at all on board?
That's very true. We'll assume it's
That is an
sometime.
excellent point. Kata, you never actually told me how much time had back in old material land.
How long? Jovi just sort of like this. Watch yourself.
Well, to put it kindly, I guess, it's about a couple months. At least from the Forgotten Realms standpoint. It took me a couple months to sort of figure out what exactly was happening. Then when I started hopping around and chasing down your cousin, who I really hope that you weren't attached to at any point in time.
Wait, are we talking about the white tiefling?
Yes, the tiefling with the little horn. Yeah.
No, they're a dick. They sent me here. No offense.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, just did a little like cousin murder. It's okay. And I'm sure somebody.
Wait, you straight up killed them?
Not straight up. No, I asked a series of questions, and well, you know how I get flustered. I can also get a little hot-headed.
Kata, did you torture my cousin?
No, no torture. No, like it was.
Did you zone of truth my cousin?
At this point, Shez will like actually clap Kada on the shoulder and go, Kada, more alike than I ever thought we could be. A lot.
Oh, I'm sure. Just kind of like it's sort of like when you're petting a stray dog. Like there's that like real heavy shake under your grasp where it's like, oh no, you better stop touching me. Like some point soon. Yeah.
Do not commiserate. No.
Yeah.
I mean, the only time I ever met them is involuntary servitude aboard a boat. So I mean, I'm not that attached to them, if I'm perfectly honest. And if what you say is true, then you might actually have done me a solid. So
family can get complicated.
Yeah. Put it this way, there are no hard feelings, and I give him a clap on the back.
His back sort of being.
Shit, sorry, I forgot. You're D6, aren't you?
God damn it.
Look.
Jovi's putting together the drinks. There are sticks of sort of scarlet rock candy being taken from a jar, and she's just mixing up this what looks like it's going to be a disgustingly sweet drink.
Give me all the sugar, Jovi.
She puts a couple sugar cubes into it as a garnish.
Yeah, the amount of sugar in that drink, Shez can practically like feel a headache in sympathy. Like, ugh.
I just like slowly turn my head to Shez, and her eyes just.
Kata very similarly is feeling his teeth rot, even just looking at the drink being prepared, and looks to Shez as.
Now this is how you survive a devil ship.
Okay, is it We're flip-flopping on terms here. Is it devil, demon?
I'm gonna call it a devil ship because, as far as I'm concerned, it was originally a devil ship.
What?
Shez like shrugs with the drink in one hand and goes, "Why not both?"
Yeah.
Immediately, Kata just downs whatever was in his his water skin that he produced from somewhere, and immediately just surrenders to the weird oblivion that has been presented here. As we with drinks in hand do close this particular chapter of the Final Rites story for this evening. God, we thank you so much, everybody, for watching and joining us. Yeah, I can't think of a better way to end it. So we're just gonna end it there. Yeah, no, this was fantastic.
It's good to be back into it.
Good to be back. Good to be back.
I want Shez to sign every single one of us up to be the Raven Queen.
I cannot think of someone
Everyone
less
else.
in tune with the Raven Queen than Mercy out of every character I've played.
It's balancing out. Okay.
She's not gonna wear black.
Yeah, no, that's... Well, is that contractually obligated? Never mind. Look, at any rate, gosh, we are so happy to happy to put on this show, and so happy to be here. I have been Jason, laboring under the delusion that this session would be anything less than spectacular. It was great.
Stop thinking that then.
Yeah, no.
I'm gonna get eaten. It's great.
Yeah, it'll be wonderful. You can find me at JustJasonPlease on Twitter and a whole bunch of other places. If you check the pinned tweet, you can find out the games that I'm in this Thursday in particular. You can find me over at RPG Webby, which is playing a Song of Ice and Fire a Song of Ice and Fire campaign over there, which is a fun time. Then next week you can find me at the premiere of Shattered Forge, which is going to be next Friday, the 20th at 2 p.m. CST or 12 p.m. PST or 3 p.m. EST, because heathens. Outside of that, I roll out the red carpet first to our guest. Yes, Mustang. So glad to have you back this week. Hopefully may even have you back another time to sort of round out the sort of story, or at least see a continuance of it. But where can we find you? How are you doing? And what you doing? Yeah.
Me on Twitter at MustangZar. I also DM for Heroes Without Limits, which is a D&D 5th edition show. We're going through the campaign of The Lost Mine of Phandelver currently, and it's all about disability representation, promoting accessibility in Dungeons & Dragons. And that is on Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST on twitch.tv/H Without Limits. And our Twitter is the same handle, at H Without Limits. We have 3 giveaways currently going on there with some lovely dice sets from Tabletop Loot up for grabs. We have a set for 500 Twitter followers, which we're almost at. We have a set for the premiere of a new show on the channel called Hero Sheets, which airs on Thursday the 26th of September at 6:30 p.m. PDT. And we also have another set to give away once we hit 100 Twitch followers. I am also in, as a player, a Haunted Whisper on Thursdays at 4 p.m. EDT to 7 p.m. On twitch.tv/variant roles. I play the drow swashbuckler Rico Dania, and if you thought Shez was flamboyant, my god, you need to see Rico. He's a mess. And
Beautiful.
last week I said the Cosmic Prophecy was going to be a game I was playing again. That's currently on hold, but because of scheduling conflicts. But I will let you guys know when I know about that I'll be playing in. And this Friday, lastly, on Friday the 13th of September, a lucky day. Hopefully it won't affect my dice rolls. We are playing through a Honey Heist game at 7 p.m. CST, featuring Samwise Gamgee, Dungeon Commander Lynn M. Meyer, who was one of the authors of the Uncaged anthology, and Dreamwisp, otherwise known as Jennifer Kretschmer, and our GM Honey and Dice on Twitter. If you just follow them, it has a link to their Twitch account, because I'm silly and didn't write it down and can't remember it off the top of my head. But I am playing in that a grizzly bear in a flat cap called Gaffer, which is British for boss because he's the brains behind the operation. And throughout the show, I'm promoting the Ayla's Danlos Society, which you can see at www.aylas-danlos.com. And I'll be talking about my experiences throughout the stream with that chronic illness and my disability and living with it. Yeah, that's everything, and I'll be back next time I seem to play Shez again.
I mean, you still have to recruit Jovi and Nowhere.
Yes.
So much work.
Recruit everyone on the ship. That's what I've got to do.
Yeah.
Full
this
ship
point.
conversion.
We shall see how that goes. But for now, we toss it over.
Sorry.
Well, actually, no, it still works as Final Rites because... Never mind.
Yeah, it works. It still works.
Rachel, hello. How you doing? Where can we find you? What you doing? Etc. Etc.
You can find me on the Twitter at Talonir. I do believe on Twitch I also go by the same name. I have now started doing art streams. I'll probably be doing one tomorrow around 4 to 5 p.m. depending on how I feel. Now I'm back into the swing of working on D&D art and commission. Yes, I do a lot of, as you'd probably guess, D&D artwork, illustration. I do some costume making. I am toddling off on Thursday to Empire LARP UK, so if you happen to be there, come say hi at some. Other than that, that's much everything. Thank you, as always, Jason, for a lovely session.
Well, thank you for being back. It's wonderful to have you.
My quest will be complete when I've driven everyone else on the.
Yeah. We shall see. We send out love to Heavenly, who has not been able to be with us today. That she is at that is my real name without the A in that. Wonderful person doing some wonderful work. Go follow on Twitter if you've got the chance. But yeah, no, I now roll it out to Angela. Angela, hey, how you doing? What you doing? Etc. Etc.
I'm doing pretty good. Yes, this was an absolutely delightful episode. I'm so happy. I was just slowly losing my mind as Mercy was like, "Oh yeah, totally. Let's sign up for this. This will be great." So I am, as I said earlier, I'm at darling_gypsum. I post a lot of stuff. As a director at Nerdsmith, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you what's coming up today. 4 p.m. Pacific, we've got Kajari's Curious Crafts. I think Anne is still working on her pirate ship, which looked amazing when I checked it out last week. It's super duper cool. It's got layers. You can take it apart and there's different decks. It's so cool. So yeah, you should definitely check out Anne on Kajari's Curious Crafts. I'll put the link to their Twitter or their Twitch on the chat. That's what I was trying to say. So you can check them out tonight. So that's in 2.5 hours. You can go check them out. And then tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, we are continuing with Shenanigans, which is a industrial fantasy stream, a D&D game that all the directors are a part of, and the delightful director husband. And we are going to be continuing, or at least starting, a murder mystery. So I have lots of exciting times ahead of us with like a spotlight in our eyes, questioning where we were at the following hour. So we'll see what happened with the murder. I don't know what happened. And yeah, so that's that. On Wednesdays at noon Pacific, I'm on Discover RPG with our delightful producer Logan, who's behind the scenes right now. We are chatting about D&D and RPGs and storytelling and world building, all sorts of cool stuff. We'll probably just be doing a grab bag because I don't know what our plan is for this week. We do have a challenge. We're going to be making some sort of 5e material, whatever it is, based on a book that is in our library, in our personal libraries. So that should be fun. Yeah, and the only other thing I'm a part of at the moment is Pactless Patrons. We got kickstarted. We got fully funded, and we'll be making season 1 of an animatic web series about supernatural beings that don't have warlocks. It's so sad. They should really get on the final rights. There's a lot of people here to recruit. But it's about a support group for fiends, fae, and frights, I think was the way we were phrasing it. And we're in the middle of production right now, so we're going to be making cool stuff. You can find out more at pactlesspatrons.com.
Fantastic. Well, as I said at the beginning, add the station, please, on Twitter. Excuse me. And before we head out, just as a final reminder, if you're catching us on YouTube, hello. You can catch us live at 1 p.m. CST. Screw you, I'm going to make it happen.
Go ahead.
1 p.m. CST weekly on Tuesdays. Yes, indeed. So if you got a couple hours to carve out, come on by. Love to have you. Sponsors, as always, Die Hard Dice over at dieharddice.com for all your finest polyhedrals, as well as worldanvil.com for all your world building needs. Free to try, but you're going to want to support them. Subscription service is probably about, I don't know, the price of an ugly doll a month. One of the mini ugly dolls. Like that. We'll work on it. If you want to find out how you can support Nerdsmith directly, so that all of its programming, including Shenanigans, including the Final Rites, including Plot Hunters, Monster Crush, and all sort of content that you can find on the network, go to nerdsmith.org/support. to find out how your bottom dollar can assist us in as we create
Just make an
more and
Annie
more.
reference. God damn it.
As you can help us continue to publish diverse, compelling, and wonderful stories across the internets. Yes, across the series of tubes that is the internet. For now, however, we say goodbye. Good luck. Adios. Take care. Bye-bye.